Welcome to Dance Chat.
Yay! So can you first do a quick self-intro? Where did you grow up? What was your environment like? And how did you meet dance?
Hello, everyone. My name is Caleaf Sellers. I'm from Brooklyn, New York, born and raised from an area in Brooklyn called Canarsie. So I grew up on the borderline of Canarsie and East New York. The project where I'm from is called Brookline Houses. I'm affiliated with Mop Top Crew, one of the original members of Mop Top, as well as Dance Fusion, and me and Buddha Stretch started the 36 Chambers of Styles. I'm also one of the directors for Mop Top Universal.
Cool. So I think what was your environment growing up, and what did dance look like around you before you get involved?
The best way to answer your question is my mom was actually the person that inspired me to dance, and she was the one that was always playing music in the house. In regards to the environment, you know, I'm from the hood, and we would have parties outside, and those parties were mostly like celebrations. So this was like pre-hip hop, before it was called hip hop. It was basically someone's baby shower, someone is about to get married, someone's birthday, someone came home from jail. You know what, let's bring out the equipment, let's have a cookout, let's celebrate them. And so that celebration is what kind of like also influenced my dance, also influenced me as a person, because this was a place where we can go and express ourselves in a different way, as opposed to just playing sports or maybe just hanging out with your friends. You could actually go and dance. So I know a lot of people from my generation mention Soul Train, but this was also another way for us to do some of the things that we saw on TV
At home.
out in the park. And then another thing about me, I lived right next to the park. Right next, like literally, like the basketball court is here, my window's here. So people would knock on my window and they would ask if they can use the electricity from our house. I would have to get the permission from my mom in order for them to use the electricity. She was like, how long they're gonna be out there? I said, how long? They say 12 o'clock. I'm like, 12. She was like, okay. So now I'm pulling a long extension cord into my house, plugging up so we can have music.
Wow.
And then in turn, I can go outside and hang out until the music was over.
So that was your first introduction to dance?
Yeah. Well, my mom was the first introduction, but because I think you said my upbringing and where I'm from, I tried to like sum it all up.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
and the name of the park was called the Rock and Roll Park, and in the Rock and Roll Park, that's where you would have a lot of events, jams.
Wow. So, but how old were you back then? Like before your...
My first jam, maybe 11, 10,
Wow.
10, 11 years old.
And back then you already met the group of people that you're still dancing with today?
Well, I'm from the same neighborhood as Henry Link. So me and him, I'm gonna be 57. So I've known Link for 50 years.
Wow, 50 years, that's
Yeah.
crazy. So your first like learning experience of dance is from like this on the street type of playing around session?
No,
It's
it's
not in the
from
studio?
my mom.
Oh,
My
I
mom
see.
was the first teacher. She was the first one she said she started me when I was like 3.
Wow. Is she like professional dancer or?
No, maybe she's dancing in heaven now, but no. She just loved to dance, and in our culture, we naturally dance. We dance when we're happy, we dance when we're sad. We play music. Music is playing all the time in the house. If she's cooking, if she's cleaning, there's music going. And 9 times out of 10, she would be dancing. And so she would just grab me. And I just remember just looking up at her and then getting older, looking down at her. Yeah, but yeah, she was the one. She was my main influence.
Wow. But was there any like formal classes, or is it just like at home and then on the streets?
Nah.
And then you said it was pre-hip hop. So how
Yeah,
did
it was
that even start?
it was before they coined the phrase hip hop, because it was everything that, excuse me for using him as a reference, but I have to, because he's one of the first ones I heard say peace, love, unity, and having fun. Africa Bambaataa said it, so I'm quoting him, but I already also know the other side of things in regards involving him, so I'm just want to just quote those words. I just want to be clear. Anyway, he said that, and I experienced that. So I remember seeing that peace, love, unity, and having fun. And like I said, this is before he said what we were doing was called hip hop, because he was one of the first ones to say that. And I like what KRS One said, hip is to know, hop is to do. So if I'm hip, that means I have the knowledge, and hop is the actual action, which then explains hip hop. And so I think that, yeah, I experienced all of that, and I tried to use that to kind of sum it up, that experience.
I guess, can you give us the details of like how, maybe one or two examples of how you experienced that, and plus like, how did hip hop first come into place? Like, I mean, you lived that experience, but for a lot of us, it's still like we hear pieces here and there, but
Right. Well, I mean, back to what I was saying, like a gathering, a place of celebration. It was about celebration, period. Now, I'm not saying that there weren't people that didn't like each other, but they would chill out just so that we could have this thing that was happening. So if people had beef, 9 times out of 10, they wouldn't fight, or it wouldn't go down then. Now, I'm not saying that it didn't happen, because there were times that it did happen where they was like, yo, such and such from such and such projects, they're coming. So we knew this before social media. So we knew that at a certain time, it's time to leave, because it might not be peace, love, and unity, because these folks have beef. You know, and as people, talk about, in some cases there were shootouts, in some cases there were fights, but 9 times out of 10, it was all love. And that's all I know to share with folks. My experience is the love aspect of it, the good times. You asked me about classes, and I don't think I answered that question. At that time, no, there weren't any classes. You learn from what you saw. If you saw something and it inspired you, then you use your eyes and your brain. Your eyes are your camera. Your brain is taking in all the information that you're seeing, everything that you're seeing, and then you go home and you replay it over and over in your head, what you saw. And sometimes the music takes you to that moment, and now, oh man, I really like when the way they move their shoulders, or the way they move their, I wanna, and you practice it until you get it. But the thing was, you practice it until you get it, and then you work on a way that fits you. You want to get it, and then you want to augment it and change it so where it fits you. So now when you're dancing around that person, they don't know that they inspired you unless you go to them and tell them, because the big thing that people don't talk about now that we talked about then was biting. You didn't want to bite anybody. You wanted to be inspired by someone, but you didn't want to take their essence and make it your own. You wanted to have your own identity. So that was like a real important thing.
there weren't classes. It was like kind of informal. You learn from just by watching.
Yes.
And then when did you realize that it wasn't just a hobby, it wasn't just a having fun or the situation, and then decided to make it into like a career and become serious about it?
Actually, I wasn't thinking in that way. I was going to Hudson Valley Community College at that time, and Link, he was at home, and I was in a situation where they cut my Pell, so my student loan was being cut because my grades. And I was like, yo, I think I'm gonna end up coming back home because all the avenues that I'm trying to stay in school it's not gonna work for me. So he was like, yo, you need to come to the tunnel. Oh, it's happening every Wednesday night. It's a dope party. I met up with Marjorie there, and yo, you need to come and check out the tunnel. So I was like, all right. So I came back home. We went to the tunnel. We met up with Marge. We met up with Voodoo Ray, Frankie Thomas, Greg, Asha, Joyce. I gotta name some of these people because sometimes people say that when we do interviews, we don't mention people that were around us. So excuse me, I'm just taking time to name some of the folks that were around us. Asia, and that night when we were in the club, Rosie Perez was in the club. And she was scouting dancers. And she went up to Link and she was like, would you like to do a Diana Ross video? And he was like, yeah. She was like, well, we're having an audition on Friday and you can tell the rest of your friends about it. He was like, okay. So he came to us, he told us about the audition. We went to do the audition. Long story short, we made the audition and then she took us out to eat and she asked me and him if this was something that we would want to do for a career. We're like, yeah, of course. And she was like, okay, don't worry about it. And so then she started connecting us with people, and that's really what kickstarted it. Before that, I wasn't thinking about it as a career. I always people look at me as a house dancer. I started with hip hop. Well, I actually started with b-boying and then hip hop and then house. And I look at myself as a dancer or a club head, first and foremost. And, you know, that's all I was thinking about, going to a club, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then again, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So we partied every single day of the week, and that was the only thing that we were primarily concerned with. So thinking of it as a career, no, but when she said it, it became real. And then when she started connecting us with Heavy D, Dougie Fresh, that summer I can't remember everybody that I work with because I know that summer we worked with tons of people. That's when it became a reality. And that kind of like opened the door to Mariah Carey and then for Link, Michael Jackson, and et cetera. This is when the reality, it's like, wow, this is something that I can do all the time as opposed to part-time.
Wow. The woman that you mentioned, is she like an agency or how did?
No, you can Google her. You should Google her. She was a former Soul Train dancer, Rosie Perez, and now she's a famous actress / director. She's done a couple of movies with Spike Lee. She's been in a movie with Nicolas Cage. She's been in a movie with Woody Harrelson, White Man Can't Jump. She's been in a lot of stuff. She's pretty famous.
Cool. But I guess like whatever she's doing, like kind of making you guys feel like it's possible and then connecting you with the industry, that in today's form, it's like what a dance agency does and kind of sign people and then.
Yeah, but it's a little different because she didn't ask for anything from us. She just wanted to see us succeed.
Wow.
So what we say in the street is like, I put you on. So basically, she just put us on. She just put us into the light where people could see us in the light, and she never came back like, hey guys, you got to give me my 15 or 20 or 10%. I don't know what agencies ask. I've never worked for an agency, so.
Wow. Okay.
Or work with an agency, excuse me.
So what's your first job with dance? And that's the experience that you talk about when you guys were auditioned and then become like a backstage dancer for a show, like, or? No,
we did a music video for Diana Ross. The name of the video was called Working Overtime.
Working Overtime.
Yeah.
And then, can you explain, like, tell us more about how does that experience look like? What does it feel like? Or how is it different back in the days when people were filming music videos?
All I can tell you is that when you're in the video, you're not primary. The artist is the focal point. You are just the background. But what you should never do is look in the camera. They tell you that all the time. You can't help it when you see the camera rolling by and it's coming your way. Your instinct is to go. You know, you're dancing and the camera, you can see it coming, and then next thing you know, you're like, everyone who did it got cut. They didn't get shown. I got shown a lot in the video because I acted like it wasn't there. I see the camera coming. Pay no attention. And what Diana Ross did after the video was over, she picked out myself, Link, Buddha Stretch, my boy Tron, Peekaboo. It was a couple of us, and she flew us into England without work permits. So we were trying to get into England in 1989 without work permits.
And then you
We were not successful. This was my first time flying internationally. So like we knew nothing. Like, so I think I had $100 on me, and $100 is like 50 pounds or maybe less. And then the hotel that we were staying in was like 50 pounds. And we were supposedly there for like 3 days. So when the customs agent, he was like, so how long you staying here? Oh, really? So where you staying? If you don't mind, how much money do you have? So you don't know, you just,
tell the truth.
you're giving up all this information. You have no idea the rules of engagement. You don't know what you should say, what you shouldn't say. And we all said the wrong thing. We all ended up in the room, like looking at each other like, what did you say? And then one of the guys I was with us, he was like, yo, you was not supposed to tell him we're here for Diana Ross. I was like, I told him, because after a while he kept asking me, and what the agents were doing were looking at each other like, oh, 1 Diana Ross, oh, 2 Diana Ross, oh, 3, oh, 4. So now we're in the room, and I just want to add, there was a gentleman that was standing next to me, and I should have already known how he was treated because he said something I wasn't really familiar with. They was like, so how long are you staying in the UK, sir? He was like, indefinitely. I was like, he said indefinitely. What does that mean? When I was sitting next to him in the room, I understood that wasn't a good answer. That means you don't know when you're leaving. You're gonna be here, you're moving here, but he has no visa. He has nothing. Mm-hmm. He's like, I don't know when I'm leaving, and he was like, they're sending me back home, and I was like, they're sending you back home, and then I'm like, oh wow. So then that means they're gonna send us back home. So then they take us one by one. They bring us into the room, and it's kind of like the movie. It's like that lamp hanging down, and why are you here? Why? I'm like, we're just here. We're here with Diana Ross. What? You all saying the same thing. I'm like, yeah, I'm telling you the truth. I'm telling you the truth. I have no reason to lie to you. We're gonna call her. I was like, call her. So he calls her. He brings us all back in the room, and he's like, I spoke to her. That's what we're gonna do. We'll give you guys 24 hours. So we had 24 hours with her, and we went to where to stay. We got to meet the band, everybody, and it was kind of like, it was like a tease, because we were like hoping that we would get to go with her on tour, because she was going on like a 30 city tour, 30 country tour, something crazy. And I was just like, oh. She was like, you guys can see the stage. And we're like on the stage, we're dancing on the stage and everything. Got to give her a big hug. And the next day we were on the plane going back to America. So every time I went to England after that, I was hella nervous. I had to throw that little Cali in there. I was very, very nervous. I'm like, are you sure? Do we have the work permit, right? I'm together with Buddha Stretch. I'm like, Stretch, are you sure? Because I was like, the last time. He's like, don't worry about it. We got the work permits, everything's. And as soon as we came in, they're like, oh, Mr. Sellers. Oh, okay, all right. Hey, everything is fine. We're good? We're good. I'm like, oh. And so then I finally got to enjoy the UK.
Wow. But that 24 hours, did you guys end up being on performance with her, like for one night at least, or is it just like?
No, we just got to go to the rehearsal,
And that's it?
to the rehearsal stage, to see her, for her to apologize to us. You know, we gave her a hug, like I said, and we went back to the hotel, we ate, and then we went to a club that night. And at that time, you know how like now they have regulations on smoking in the club. Oh man, the cigarette smoke was like unbearable. It was like a cloud of like cigarette smoke. And then like this was when the Running Man was like prevalent. Like this is when it was at its peak. So every song you heard, you wanted to do it to. You're like, oh, keep on moving, don't stop. And then Stretch, his allergies are bad. And then all the smoke, we had to take him outside of the club because it was really, really too much. It was bad. So we stayed at the club for a little while, but we ended up having to leave because of that situation.
Wow, that was insane.
Yeah.
So when was your like first real job, like that you ended up being on the stage in the industry? Like right after?
It was with Crystal Waters. If you talk about a real job, I would say a real job is like a tour. And me and Peter Paul, my boy Peter Paul, shout out to Peter Paul Scott. We were with her for like almost 4 months. And we toured with her everywhere in the US. And then we went over to Europe. I think we did 2 countries in Europe. We were in France, we went to Paris, and then we went to Italy, to Roma. Yeah. So that was like a real job. And then we were on tour with Queen Latifah and Ziggy Marley and the Melody Makers. But her song, Gypsy Woman, was so big that whoever was a big artist at that time, we performed with them as well. So if you go to any big amusement park, Six Flags in the US, we were performing there. And then we performed at every single club that existed because they wanted her. La-da-dee, la-dee-da. They're like, bring her here. And so me and him, we were the first to dance behind her during that time.
How does rehearsal, like what's the backstory of those tours? Like how did you guys prepare for it and like, I don't know.
To be honest with you, at that time, me and Pete, what we did, we didn't really have to do a lot of choreography. Maybe we did like 8 counts, 8 eights of choreography, and the rest was freestyle. Sometimes we would get on stage and be like, I'm going in, and that's it. And like just go in for like the whole entire song and freestyle the whole song and totally just throw out the choreography.
Wow, is that?
That's not common now, and for people who are heavily into choreography, I wouldn't suggest doing that because you're gonna stick out like a sore thumb. But we had chemistry where we would look at each other, and it's like he'd give me a look, and then I'm like, oh, he's gonna go crazy right now. So I couldn't walk over to him. We're both tall, so we spread out on the stage for Crystal to give her space because she's up front. And then like we're behind her just going for it.
There's just 2 of you?
Yeah, it was just 2 of us in the beginning. And then like within like the first month, they brought on, may he rest in peace, they brought on Kevin. And Kevin joined us and he was voguing. And so you had 2 freestyle dancers and 1 voguer.
So you just do whatever, like as long as you're engaging?
When we got Kevin, no. When we got Kevin, we were more uniform. We stuck with what we planned, and then when it was time for you to solo, you knew your time. It's different as opposed to as soon as they come out and she wakes up early in the morning, and you're going off. You're like going crazy like you're in a club. No, so we took it easy. Yeah, so we had parts where we had times in the show where each one of us had the time to shine. So we knew. Yeah.
But how did the whole like having a choreography to a song come into place? Because I think nowadays when we see a stage performance all choreographed and it's like a group of people, they're all
Right.
doing the same thing, formation.
Yeah, I mean, we did all of that. I mean, actually, Buddha actually was one of the first to choreograph a lot of stuff for videos and on a large scale. Yeah, did you ever see Get It Jiggy with It? Will Smith?
Have you
La 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 la, Get It Jiggy with It. La la la. You can look it up. You can look it up. You can look it up. I know you saw Remember the Time, right? Michael Jackson? Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, I'm not in it. I'm just saying, like, you said, how did it, like, we had people that I was involved with that were responsible for those things. And then a lot of us already, you had to choreograph something when you got on stage with an artist. You had to have something uniform. But what I was taking you to a place of reality. When you get on stage, sometimes you forget. And then the go-to when you forget is to go off, because you're on stage. It's hundreds to thousands of people watching you. You got to go for it. And then afterwards, you talk about it. Yeah, you messed up there. Yeah, I know. Next time. We'll get them next time. But you don't want the artist saying that's a bad thing, because then you'll have a problem. Then you'll be going home.
Wow.
Yeah.
Then what's the first, like, what do you think is a peak, or when you first start feel like, oh, this is it, I'm in the room, like I'm really, like if you have to pick one or two highlights of being in the industry and career?
I think working for myself. That's when I can honestly say I'm in the room, because I'm not behind anyone. I don't have to worry about upstaging someone. I don't have to stand in the back. People actually came to see me. But I'm not a person that's like caught up into my ego, or I'm not really into that. But to answer your question, that would be it for me. And if I would pinpoint a time, it would be when me and Peter Paul, they brought us out to Japan for Dance the Light in 1993, and it was just me and him.
So there's no artist.
But we were fortunate enough to go because Link and Buddha Stretch and Loose Joint couldn't go. So they gave it to us. So now we're the people that people are coming to see. So it was like, then you also kind of feel the pressure, because it's different when you're behind an artist. Now you're the person. So now you got to produce. And yeah, I think we did a good job, because we kind of like set the table for the people who came after us. So we went in 93, and then right after 94, Stretch and Loose Joint and Link were able to go. And that's how Elite Force started with Michael Jackson, but then it also hit Japan after. So that impact, it was me and Pete, then them, and then it's kind of set the table for what came after.
But what does that show look like? Just the two of you dancing for an entire
Well,
one
the
or
show
two?
was a contest, a choreography contest, a lot of different styles, locking, popping, hip hop, house. So we had to watch at least 40 groups. We had to choose between the 40 groups who was the winner. And then we're the guests, judges, so now we also have to perform.
Oh, I see. So it's more like you are the judge, and then you have a judge showcase.
Showcase, yes.
Ah, I see.
Yes.
So that really sets the tone of, I think nowadays competitions are set up in that way, where they have teams to compete, they have the judge, and then
Yeah. But if I may speak to that, but what happens with the contest, they introduce you, you sit down, you wait. 5 hours later, hey, are you ready? And you're like, what do you mean? Like, it's time. The final, they want you to dance, and you're not warm.
Yeah.
No matter what you do, you can't get warm. No matter if they say, we're gonna give you guys 20 minutes, and you go on the side and you start trying to move around, you're still not ready to go like you would have been ready to go when they first introduced you. From Brooklyn, New York, Representative Caleaf. As soon as you come out, now you have all that energy. You're ready to go. And you'll probably give your best performance. A lot of people, if you speak to them and they're honest with you, they'll tell you that they hate waiting all the way to the end to dance. So
Yeah.
I guess maybe go first. Other people like too much pressure. If you go first, it will give other people too much pressure.
Yeah, maybe so. But then I think it's also good for the people before they perform to see who's judging them, because most of the time, once you lose, you leave. And nowadays it's even worse. Oh, I didn't even make pre-selection? I'm gone. When their plan was to be there the whole day to watch the whole entire event, most people no longer participate if they don't get picked. And you have the most people in the house in the beginning. That's when the majority of people are gonna see you at that time. Most people are danced out towards the end. They try to give you energy, hey! But you can look out and see, you're like, man, it's about 50 people that they're not here, or there's maybe 70 people that left, and
Yeah.
you can feel the difference in the house. That's just my take on it. I'm not saying I'm right, I'm just saying what I experience and what I prefer. It doesn't work out that way a lot of times. Sometimes they'll listen to you, a promoter will listen to you, they're like, yeah, I hear you. Maybe next time. Anyway, and you wait until the end.
But you can do that in your own, like you said, if you're working for yourself, maybe in Step Your Game Up, you can do that. Or
No, not even to step your game up. I can't do it. It's up to Buddha, because he runs that event. No, I can't, you know.
But going back to when you said like when you started working for yourself, that's when you feel like you're in the room. Like,
Yeah.
what have you felt? Like, what when you said 36, how did it even first come into place? And like,
Okay. 36 Chambers came into play because we didn't have anything here, and we went everywhere, to every camp, all over the globe, spreading the dance, spreading the knowledge and the information. And I felt like it was important to bring something home. I was like, wow, we don't have anything in New York City. And a lot of people would ask me, why don't you have something in New York? So I was like, let me look into that. So at the time, EXPG was open, and I went to them and I spoke to them, and I was like, hey, man, I would love to do a house camp. I just wanted to do a house camp. But at the same time, Buddha wanted to do a hip hop camp. So I went and I spoke to management. They said yes. They green-lighted it. They green-lighted Stretch. Sibo was in the middle because he was working in the office, and he was like, they green-lighted you and they green-lighted Stretch. He was like, you want to do it in June. He wants to do it in July. Hey, you're boys. Why don't you guys just do it together? So me and Stretch get on the phone, and I'm like, yo, I think it sounds like a good idea. And he was like, word, I think so too. So this is how we came together to form 36 Chambers of Styles. And then at first I just wanted to call it 36 Chambers, like the movie with Gordon Liu. If you want to look it up to see the inspiration, also you can also see what inspired Wu-Tang Clan, because their whole basis of their first album, Into the 36 Chambers, was based on that. You can see the movie, then you can understand. Anyway, Stretch was like, we should call it 36 Chambers with a Z of Styles with a Z. And I was like, I love that. So we just started out with 7 days. Another reason why I felt it was important because in the movie, there's something that happened that was very important. He worked so hard to go to Shaolin. And when he got to Shaolin, he met with the monks. They finally allowed him in. And they was like, well, where do you want to start? And you know what? Like most dancers, he wanted to start at the top, at the highest level. But when he went to that 35th chamber, there's no Kung Fu. But he came for Kung Fu, there's no Kung Fu. It's just meditation. So the Sifu's there and he's like, he's meditating and he's calling out different things. And now you have to, if he calls upon you, you have to say the quote. If he says the beginning, you have to end it off. He says the next quote, you have to end it off. And so he has his eyes closed and the person says it, the next person says it, the next person says the wrong thing, and now he has to move back down because he messed up. So then he opens his eyes and he sees Gordon Liu, and he was like, what are you doing here? And he was like, Sifu, I just want to learn Kung Fu. And he was like, get out. Hit him with like a sonic boom, like you see him like fall back, and he falls out. He runs back to the first monk that he met, and he was like, so how did it go? And he was like, he said, so what do you want to do? He said, I think I need to start at the first level. I say all of that to say is sometimes I've taught many classes, and people are like, yeah, well, you know, I want to learn something that's super difficult. But I'm like, damn, you can't do something that's super basic. So if you can't do super basic, why are we doing super difficult? You need to master the basics, and then we'll work our way up to difficult and more intricate movement. Why are we going to start at the highest level when you're not at the highest level? And so this is really what the 36 Chambers is all about. And then we do a 3-hour class, 3 teachers. Each teacher primarily teaches for 45 minutes to an hour, but what you're supposed to be getting, the concept, is you're getting a chamber. So you're going through different chambers with the teachers, the instructors. So each class you have 3 chambers that you went through. And like you said earlier, if I must quote you, you said that there was a lot of information that you're still trying to process, and you were with us 2 years ago, right?
Yes, that's right.
So that's really what it's all about.
Yeah.
Sorry if I
I feel the same way. I took it last year and still mind-blowing. And I think you said it was at first just hip-hop and house, and then last year when I took it, it was 2 weeks, and it has like, it's all styles. It's like really a whole lot.
Yeah, we added on the second week, and in the second week we added funk styles. Yeah. We kind of didn't want to go into that water. We kind of wanted to leave it for a while, but then we were like, man, we should just cover everything in the way that we want to pass on to the students, because our whole thing, we didn't want to do something where you come in, you learn choreography, and now I'm done. And now you're stuck with the choreography, and there's nothing wrong with choreo, but we feel like, that there's more to dance than just that. We wanted to give you something that you can grow with. So now when you make your choreo, you got a whole lot to pull from, because the people that are sitting before you, we had a whole library to pull from when we make up choreography. And I think that that's important to know where it's coming from, how it started, who influenced it. It's the same way that a lot of people know a lot about their shoes that they wear. Sometimes people know more about the shoes and the clothes that they're wearing than the dance that they're doing. That's crazy to me. Oh, yeah, and this is a certain type of material, and you know where it was sewn at? In Italy, and this zipper, this comes from Korea. You know, come on. You know what's funny is that if it wasn't for folks abroad, I don't even think that we would still be doing it. Not in this way. We would still go to the clubs, of course, but I don't think we would have still been doing it at this level. It was actually through our travels that made us see how important it was to continue to keep teaching, to keep sharing. We could have easily, especially with the whole clubbing aspect and everything that goes on in the clubs, it could have just stayed privy to those who know, those who've been there, because most of those clubs you needed to have a membership to get in. And so if I didn't have a membership and I wasn't a member, I would only know if you were a member and you told me about your experience there. See, now most of the clubs, if you have your ID, you're in. If you have your ID and you have the money to get in, you can get in. But most of the clubs where we come from, especially like the Garage, the Choice, which the Choice was the Loft, and then before that, the Gallery, and these are clubs that even before my time, the Gallery and the Loft, or before my time, you needed a membership to get in there. And there was no text a person, no, you sent a letter. I'm gonna have 3 people, and here are their names. And then you had to wait for the reply from the club so that to find out if you're good so these people can get inside. And then when you went in the club, you couldn't leave. Because if you left, you couldn't come back in.
Wow.
See, now when you go in the club, I'm going outside, making a call. You can't do any of that now. Then you go in, you stay in. And then when you go home, you gotta leave because you can't migrate in front of the club. You know how most people, they'll sit in front of a club, even when they're like, all right, guys, it's over. People will still kind of mill around. They kind of want to chat it up. They want to chill. They want to talk. You couldn't do that. And they had a list of rules. So, yeah. I think I kind of went off topic because I...
It's all good. It's all good.
I was like, wait, she had something else, but I kind of wanted to touch on that. So sorry about that.
It's all good. We were talking about 36 and like
Right.
how you guys structure the class.
Right.
If I remember right, like I think it was foundation, like striking. Can you
Yeah.
touch on that? On like
Yeah,
why did you decide to teach it in that way?
Because I think we wanted to focus in on specifics because, like I said, we taught everywhere, so we wanted to kind of plug in the holes. We wanted to plug in and focus in on things that we felt that were missing. So Monday's footwork and foundation. Tuesday's technique. Wednesday is partner dancing. Oh my God, partner dancing.
Oh, that was the
I'm
hardest.
gonna
I
say it one
still
more time.
remember the
Partner
traumatized.
dancing. In my travels, a lot of people have a lot of trouble. They have trouble dancing with one another. Either they tell me, we're shy. They don't want to look at each other. They just keep moving. And I'm like, I try many different ways to get them to look at one another and dance because what the message I'm conveying is like, hey, when you look at one another, you learn from one another. This is how we learned. This is how you grow. Yeah, you're looking at the floor, looking on the side, and not connecting with the person that you're dancing with, you're missing out on it. Thursday's floor, Friday's freestyle. So Friday is the day that you get to apply the 4 days. And then now we made Saturday is like a review day, but it's also a day like we had to clarify some of the names of different steps and movements. So that's what we dedicated Saturday to, and then Sunday is also a review day, but we also have Step Your Game Up. And then we move into funk styles for the second week.
But when you say like Tuesday, the techniques, I want to touch on that. Like, what exactly is technique about? And
Okay, well, if I was to get up and turn, there's a certain technique that would be used in order for me to turn, or a certain technique that I would be using, because no one turns the same, right? Everyone has a different way of turning. So I'm gonna break down how I do this movement. I'm gonna show you how it's done. And there is a technical side on the way it's done, from my balance, how I distribute my weight, the way I hold my arms, which way my head is positioned, my shoulders, etc. This is what the technique is all about. And there's technique in hip hop, there's technique in house. And like I say, each teacher has their own way of dancing, their own way of movement. So that's why we felt like it's important, as opposed to you coming and saying, oh, I'm just learning Caleaf style. No, you're learning the way Caleaf, for example, does the skate, or does the skate into another movement, how I'm combining movements, but now I'm showing you the actual technique on how to go in and out of movements. For example, it just all depends upon the teacher and what they want to focus in on. But I think that it's important. There are some people who just teach technique. That's it. They don't focus in on groove. They don't focus in on foundation. They're just dealing with just technique. Again, there's nothing wrong with that. But what we wanted to do is tap in to all of the aspects of dance that we felt that were important, that was missing.
Then for the partner dancing part, I think, if I remember right, it was like hustle and some other styles I don't fully recall, but I think, is it possible to do hip hop like a partner dance?
Of course. Yeah.
How to do that? And like you said, why is that important? Because I think to a lot of us, by the time that we got introduced to the style, it's already like kind of battle based. You're dancing at each other, you're
Right.
battling each other.
Right.
It's not really like you're dancing with each other or like same way that
Right.
hustle is.
Well, again, the reason why we offer that is because of that. Because of that reason. Most people are introduced by the contest. I must stress, battle is a way different, like like our prior conversation. A battle is whenever I see you, it's on. It is on until one of us relent and say, hey, you know what? Yo, man, you're dope. Or you're like, oh, you're dope. And until one of us give it up, then it's not gonna stop. You can go to the bathroom and I'll sit and wait until you come back and now we're going. Contest is a little different. So in the contest, yes, everyone is dancing at one another. Everybody wants to be number one. But they're missing the party side because there used to be in the beginning when you had a jam and people battle, they would, a contest when they had a jam aspect of it too, where they had the contest and then they had a time to party. So people actually were partying together. But then they were like, man, it's cutting into time. You know what? We're cutting it down. So that hour that you had to get off and dance with one another is now cut down to 30 minutes. It's now cut down to 20 minutes. It's now cut down to 10 minutes. 10 minutes and then we'll be right back because we have to move into the top 16. We have to move into the top 8. So when you look at the night, when the night is over, you only had like maybe 30 minutes to actually dance with someone. Now back to what I was saying, you can dance any dance with someone. Any dance. I haven't seen Crumpendo partner dance. I just think about it for a second because I'm just trying to think. But I think I'm quite sure they can figure it out. But I'm just saying I have. If anyone here have seen it, please let me know because I'm not trying to make a joke, but I'm just saying. And so what you experienced, you had the hustle, the original hustle, New Style Hustle by Jeff Shelby. So you had the original hustle and then New Style Hustle. And then you had Tasha Barnes, she was teaching jazz. So she was showing you jazz. And then King Charles taught stepping from Chicago, which is another form of partner dancing.
But like you said, these are specific dance forms that are partner dancing in the form itself.
Right.
I guess, how does that translate to dancing with each other in the other style, like in hip hop, in house, with like funk styles even?
In house, we would go back and forth with one another, and we called it stalking. So I'm basically shadowing you, and now you're shadowing me, and now I'm shadowing you, and you're shadowing me, and we would do this all night long.
And same for the other styles. It's
Yeah,
basically
yeah.
you're just communicating and
Yes.
really looking
Yes.
at each other.
But again, that's the beauty about the culture, right? Is that's what you came out to the social event, is to be social. And now we're on the dance floor. It's time for us to connect with one another. And you gravitate to the people that gravitate to you. Like if you connect with the people that connect with you, basically, and You know, I come from an era when we went to dances and some people would be a little shy, but then it would just always be one person that would go break the ice and go up to a young lady and ask her to dance. So that was it. That's how it started. And you're not dancing close, you're just dancing with one another. And maybe you start out basic, hip hop. Now you say hip hop, dancing together. Two-step. A two-step. This was the most basic way to start with someone, two-step. And then maybe as you start going on, you start adding in more elements. You know, she might do something, you might do something, and then you like it, and next thing you know, you're like, you know, going back and forth with one another. So this is something that like was quite common, but it's not something that you can actually picture now, because when you walk into a party, you see a Cypher.
Yeah.
Because I go to parties sometimes now, and I see Cypher as soon as I walk in. I pay, it's right there. I'm like, yo, what's up? What's going on? And I see everybody's face like. And then another thing, and I think people miss this too, and I think it's a little sad. You can be in a Cypher like we're sitting now, but if someone is in the middle, as opposed to standing there and looking at them like this, we should be giving them energy. But that doesn't happen unless you know that person.
Yeah.
You're giving energy. Everybody else is like, they can't wait till that person finishes because they got to go and say something. I'm going to say something. I got to say something. I got to say something, as opposed to us being like, ooh, how, ooh. If you give that energy, then this person can give more. You in turn will give more, and then it's like a chain reaction. And that is the beauty of a Cypher. It's actually what the 5%ers call building. So one person is in the middle, they're dancing, the next person goes, and what we're supposed to be doing is this. We're pushing one another up. But if it stays like this, I leave, I'm the shit. You go, you say to yourself, you're the shit. Same. But there's no love being passed between us when we're supposed to be here sitting together, dancing together. We're supposed to be giving each other that love. And I think that's what's missing. And it's kind of sad. It makes me a little sad, but I'm hoping people will get that. That's definitely a message I want to pass on. The love is...
Yeah, that's why we're doing it. And everyone keeps adding to it, and then we can all level up and push the boundary more and take it further.
For sure. You'll see if you do it. If you try, you actually feel good giving it up to people. It makes you feel good, you know. And there's another thing, and I'll give Rennie his props. Rennie Harris mentioned the fact that, like, the African tribes, when they stood in a Cypher, if someone was in the middle, when we're here, we have a responsibility to give you energy, but at the same time, we can all look out for one another. I can see what's coming behind you. You can see what's coming behind me. We're all together. We're all connected. When he said that, it resonated with me. I was like, man, that's deep. I never looked at it that way. A lot of people will get even deeper. They say, everything starts at 0 and ends at 0. Like 360 degree. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. I don't know what I just said, but I thought it was pretty deep. So I just thought I'd just lay it in there.
Well,
So any of you mathematicians, don't come after me. I'm just... But no, but it's true, right? You start from nothing and you end at nothing. And sometimes in class, my wife is here with me, so I'll say this, like, at class I say the circle is also life. Just put it like that. Circle is life in itself. Yeah.
oh, that's so deep.
That's what I'm here for.
Great. And then still going back to 36, I think the way I experienced it, how it's different from all the other dance classes that I've been to, is that there are two circles going on at the same time instead of just like one teacher and we're all facing front, facing mirror. And actually, there's no mirror. There's no recording. You just have to be in there. Can you like tell us the backstory of why you designed it that way?
I kind of wanted to bring the club atmosphere or the party atmosphere to the classroom. Is something that I've always tried to do, and everyone that I'm down with, we all feel the same way. It's difficult. It's not easy, but when you, as opposed to having a stage, because we could have done that too, have a stage and then have someone up on the stage and everyone face the stage with no mirrors, but then there's no connection. You don't feel connected with the people. But when you are in the Cypher, again, it's the same thing. You can feed off of the energy of the people around you, and I feel like people are forced to focus in a time when a lot of people don't really focus, right? Let's say you're doom scrolling. You might look at something in between. If you like it, you're gonna look at it for like 13 seconds. On average, this is the average person. If you don't like it, it's like a second. So people's tolerance to actually focus in on something is so now when you can't have your phone, it's forcing you to be in the moment, as opposed to a lot of times when people go out, gotta film this. But you're there live, like you're there. Who you filming it for? You might not even look at the video. You might end up deleting shit because it's filling up your phone. Because you're like,
That's so
how
true.
many moments can I capture? Like, I often joke about the cloud. I'm like, the cloud is gonna bust because how the hell can it hold all this information that people are just constantly like downloading anyway? But yeah, I would prefer to people to be in the moment because I think you actually get more out of it. And now you're actually utilizing your brain to recall what you've learned. And yeah. And I like to see people on the side, or, we allow you to take notes. I like to see people taking notes. It tells me that they're serious, that they came here to actually learn something, And that's what we want at the end of the day.
Wow. And there's also like a kids division that's
Yeah.
separate from the adults.
Hey, it's kind of hard. We're trying to build it. We're trying to get the kiddies in there. But yeah, we this will be the third year that we're doing it. And it's the third or fourth year, babe. Yeah, so this is the fourth year that we're doing it. Yeah.
But I guess, why do the kids have to be separate from the adults? When my first ever hip hop class, I was taking it with like little kids, and they're all good. They know how to freestyle already.
Right. Right. Now we kind of wanted to give them their own. We wanted to give them their own room and their own time and their own space, because our classes were like 100 to 120 people, and then there was really no space for them. And I worried some of them were beginners, like just starting out, and I didn't want them to be up in the room with adults. I would prefer them to have their own space.
I guess touching on that point, does it feel like? Does it feel different teaching kids versus teaching adults? And
you have to have a certain resolve. I think you have to be patient first and foremost, and you have to really come up with a plan. You can't go in with kids and not have a plan. But then at the same time, that plan could also, you have to also be ready to rip the plan up and to do something on the fly with them, because they'll surprise you every time. There's always gonna be one kid that's like super energetic, has a lot of energy, that's like there. There's gonna be a couple that's focused. There's gonna be one that's like, I want want to talk to my mom. You're like, huh? Wait, you just got here. Like, you sure you're okay? Like, so you have to be able to be able to deal with all of that. But all in all, I think it's a beautiful experience, and I love kids, and I love working with them. I know that there's others that, you know, for some it's difficult, you know. But me, I personally love working with kids.
I guess also from like the teacher's perspective, looking at the kids versus the adults, like as a student, how do you think they're different? Because I think, at least for me and a lot of friends, like you said, nowadays we all get introduced to dance through choreography, heavily choreography based. And so many of them had told me like they really want to freestyle, but they don't know how to.
Right.
And I've seen so many times, I think kids, they naturally know. And not saying that they're at a highest level. Of course, some of them haven't been trained, but it's so natural for them to just dance and move to music. But I do see that for adults, it's kind of hard to cross that line.
Well, the thing about kids is that they don't put a barrier on themselves. They're not in a box. You forget, like when you're a kid, if we were all kids now, now we're all 7 or 8 years old, and I come up with this great idea about let's climb up there and jump off. And if there's a way for all of us to climb, most likely all of us are going to climb up there and probably jump off. We're not even going to think twice about it. And that's the best way to describe kids. They don't have any cap. They're like, I see it, I like it, I'm going to try it, I'm going to do it. Whereas an adult, you're judging yourself. From the door, you're judging yourself. And this is the reason why people are saying they're having trouble freestyling, because I guess, and this is just my guess. And again, one question, there's not one answer, there's many answers. This is my answer. I learned this from a good friend of mine, C. Jockey from Shanghai. Thank you, brother. He said, because some people have one question and they look for that one answer, and that one answer is the only answer. My answer is not the only answer, it's an answer. So these people judge themselves. And when you judge yourself, this is what's stopping you, and it's not allowing you to be free. This is my observation. So I think the freedom comes from you tapping into your inner child. Because dance is supposed to be fun. If it is not fun, then you shouldn't be doing it. You need to ask yourself, what am I doing if you're not having fun? I'm gonna be 57, inshallah. I'm 56, 2.5 weeks from now, I'll be 57. I do this because I love it. And so when you're there and you're at that point, because obviously if you're doing choreography, you must like it a lot. You probably might say you do love it. So if you do love it, then here's a way to free yourself up. Tap into your inner child. First, find a song that you love. Not that you like, that you love, that like every time you play it, it makes you want to move. And that song will be the song that's going to kind of open that door for you. Because that song, when you hear it, you should start moving and move. You're moving without thinking. So when you're moving without thinking, you're that close to freestyling. Freestyling is not for your style, but now there has to be a style that you're into. What style is that? I don't know. This is just a question that you need to ask yourself. And that should be the first thing that you focus in on, aside from being on beat, aside from grooving, well, connecting and grooving with the music. It's also good with freestyle to start out really basic. You don't have to go to the 35th chamber. You can start out at 1. And only you know what one is. Because what's one for me is not one for you, and vice versa. And it goes for everyone that's sitting here. So that, for me, is like, this is what I tell, because people say the same thing, how can I get better? And I tell them the same thing. Find your song, your favorite song, the song that you're like, that's my shit. And I mean the song that you're like, if someone asks you, they're like, you like this song? You're like, that's my shit. That song, that should be the song that you should be practicing to. Some people say training. I recently fell in love with a song. I had to call my wife and tell her that I fell in love with the song. Unfortunately, I found out that the vocals were AI. But let me tell you, and this just happened on my last trip to Asia. Let me tell you something. Every time I played it, it made me emotional. I'm gonna keep it a buck with everybody here. It made me laugh. It made me cry. It made me get super excited. Everywhere my friends were driving me around, I'm like, stop here. They're like, what? I was like, I want to dance. They're like, what? Here? Now? I'm like, right now. Let's film. That feeling is the feeling that I'm speaking to, when something can take you on a trip. This is kind of like a way to help you get into it. So there'll be others that'll talk about technique, that'll talk about foundation. I'm taking a step beyond that, because once you're already here, this is the other side. If you're able to do choreography, that means that you should have some of those things already. You should already have technique. You should already have some foundation, because from that, this is what people are creating choreography from. You should have some form of understanding of groove, I hope. No, I'm just saying, like, and then if you're already there, then this should be the next thing to push you and catapult you. The only person that's holding you back is yourself. Sometimes we're too hard on ourselves, too judgmental. That's not what this is all about. It's really, especially where I'm coming from a place of love. So I think if people focus in on that, they'll be able to tap in. Again, one question, this is one answer. You can ask others and add on to what I'm saying.
I think that's the wrap for like 36. But what are other things that you feel like that you've done for the scene, and I guess how do participants contribute to the scene instead of just like taking from it? Because I know that we're all participating, and sometimes I think we just go to class. But I think, at least for me, 36 really got me thinking like that we all have a responsibility and we can all contribute in our own ways. And
Right.
I want to, like, maybe you can start from your own experience. How did you finally find your niche and be able to contribute to the scene? And for other people, how can we do that as well?
I think just supporting it is a contribution, and passing it down the line. So like, if something inspired you, something touched you, then you pass it on to the people that are closest to you, so that they'll know about your experience, and then they'll in turn want to go and experience it for themselves. It's the same way that maybe you go to a restaurant and you might eat some really good food, and you're like, you know what, this spot right here, they got some really good ramen. I love ramen, so I'm gonna just use ramen for example. I'm a vegan, and I know a spot that called Spicy Moon. They have the best vegan ramen in the city. Anyway, like, for example, me sharing that with you is the same way if someone had a good experience, you would want to go and then in turn share it with someone else. And I think that's another way to contribute, respecting the information that you got from the people that you got it from. And then trying to find out as much as you possibly can about what you're into, because everybody's not into house. Everybody's not into hip hop. Everybody's not into whacking. Everybody's not into popping. But it's good to go as deep in whatever you're into to find out as much as you possibly can about it. And that is the way that you give back. The more information you got, the more informed that you are, then you're better suited to pass that information on to, better equipped, getting it together. Better equipped to pass the information on to someone else. And for me, that is a way of giving back, you know. It doesn't always have to be financial, but it definitely has to be about passing that information that you've gotten from your experience on with others.
Aside from the passing knowledge on part, like also organizing these events, like
Right.
have you, like what's your experience on that, and like any tips, giveaways for us?
Okay. The best thing to do is, oh my God. The best thing to do is to share this with you. Before I decided to become an organizer or promoter of an event, I would go to events and I had all these things to say. If there was a box, I probably would have like a mailman. I had all of these suggestions and all these great ideas for someone else's idea. I can make your idea better. I can tell you how you can be better. And then when you actually on the other side, you realize how hard it is for that person to do what they do. So I have a great respect for people who I've learned from. I'll give some of them shout out. I'll give Bruce Akanji a shout out, Adjustable. I'll give John from Summer Dance Forever. I'll give him a shout out. I'll give my boy Martin from Sweden, who did Street Star for 20 years. Just to name a few, because there are many, many more, but I just want to shout them out. And I actually sat underneath them and learned from them. I don't know, they took a liking to me, so they would bring me to teach, but then they would also be like, you know what, I'm going to the store, come with me. I'm going to do this, come with me. So it was stuff outside of dance, but then at the same time, I was kind of getting a chance to see behind the scenes, which then led to me asking questions like, yo, so how much does it cost to bring 20 people? How much does it cost to do this? How much does it cost to do that? Do you think if I did it, how, you know, those questions. And when I got those questions, then I was like, okay, so I kind of like know what it's gonna take. And then that's kind of like what led me down this road, you know. And like I said, I also felt like it was important to bring it here, to bring it home. Because we always talk about our city being the Mecca, but then there's a lot of times that people come and they're like, yeah, I came, but I couldn't find anything. And I came there and I don't know where all the dancers are. And I'm like, okay. Well, we need to have a place where all the dancers are. We need to have a home base at home. We need to have our actual official home base. And so for right now, at first it was EXPG, and now it's Perry Dance Center. And so, yeah. So like I said, I have a greater respect, and yeah, it's not easy. And I'm telling you, I still come across people who are wearing like that. I taking my hat, giving you my hat, and now you're me, the old me. And I'm hearing all these suggestions. Yeah, okay, yeah, oh yeah, that's what we should do. Okay, yeah, okay, all right, thank you. Okay, all right, thank you. And then at the end, I'm like, they have no idea. They have no idea what this takes. They have no idea how hard this is. Yeah. They have no idea how hard, you know, it's difficult also to deal with a lot of different personalities. You really have to be level-headed. You can't be emotional because no one is the same. So yeah, like I say, I have great respect for those folks. And it's 9 years now. So I'm in pretty deep.
We have great respect for you guys too. That
Thank you.
it's not easy to make anything happen. I think so.
Nah,
Everything.
especially now, because because every second time passes, and this will hopefully be something we look back on and smile. Remember that. But there are other things that are going on in the world that also affect a lot of events right now, and we hope that those things change. Because if those things change, then people won't be scared to come here. For those that are already here, you're cool. But as far as my folks in Europe and other places, they're like, I wanted to come, but I'm scared. I don't know what to tell them. I don't want to come because of ICE. That part, So there are things going on that also affect us as promoters.
Yeah,
now.
definitely. Dance is never just dance. We're all living in today's world just as everyone else, and I think everything that's going on affects dance. Like,
I wanna comment on what you're saying, and I said this to a friend a couple of years ago. Dancers should have a seat in the UN, because we know how to sit and get along with one another no matter what country we're from. And we know how to solve our issues with one another. We have a dance event. Dance it out. Dance it out. And you know what's funny? At the end of the event, we shake hands and we go home. We're good. How come we know how to work with one another, but they can't? So I would love for hip hop to have a seat, the hip hop culture to have a seat, someone to be a representative in the UN. We're fighting for that. That's the next step. It won't be me, but it'll definitely be someone else. You know who I vote? Sibo. You're the guy.
Yeah, but I think I heard Stretch said this a lot, that dance unites us together in this world where everything is splitting us and like.
Yeah, well, everything tells us not to communicate or to connect. Well, music and dance. See, to add on to what my brother said, music and dance is what connects us and keeps us in a room with each other for 4 or 5 hours, 6 hours, sometimes 7, depending upon the event.
10 for 36.
Right. Yeah, 10 for 36. You're right about that.
Then let's talk about some struggles that you dealt with in your career. Like, has there ever been times that you felt like dancers are taking advantage of, or has there been like injuries that it's really hard to deal with? What are some struggles along the way?
The struggle for me was when I left dance. I left for like 2 years, and this was like raising my family. So this when my kids were young, and I worked a regular job. I worked at Goodwill Industries for $5 an hour, which is probably unheard of right now in this day and age. I hope no one is working for $5 an hour. And we got paid every 2 weeks. So that means you borrow for the week that you don't get paid, and then pay back everybody back when you get paid, and then you broke again, and then you borrow the money back again. So it's like a vicious cycle that's going on. And yeah, that was tough. That was hard. And then coming back to it in 97. So I left in 95 and came, the beginning of 95, came back in 97, and I've been doing it ever since. There was a time though I coached little kids football, and I left to work in the hospital for special surgery on the Upper East Side in Manhattan. And that was a good job that I left. Insurance, if I want to go back to school, they would have paid for me to go back to school. Pension, like, it was a lot. But I left to go back to dance because I love dance that much. But yeah, like I said, that was really the hardest time for me.
The hardest time is when you left it.
Yeah. In dance, I can't really say I had a hard time because when I came back in '97, I had a purpose. At that time off, the time away from it, something that I love so much, coming back, I came back with a fury, a ferocity, a whole bunch of energy, and that energy was like a tidal wave. And so what happened, me and Shanes, shout out to my brother Shanes, we decided that people would bring us to come to go to Japan. And this is when we were frequent Japan a lot. But what we decided to do, instead of you bringing me, I'll bring myself. The reason why we did that was because if you, let's say you fly me out, now if I'm there with you, I can only work with you. If another promoter wants me, he has to confirm it with you, and then you have to say it's okay. But now if I fly myself, I can work with whoever I want. And what we did, we set the precedent. We took everyone's card from every studio that we went to. And now we had a stack of cards. And what we did is we created a track. Tokyo, Osaka, Nagoya, Hiroshima, Fukuoka, Nagasaki. Now we know all the main people there. Now we're completely connected. And now whenever we come, we can run the track. To the point where Link and Stretch were with Mariah, they're performing in Yokohama, and we're at the show just chilling. And then I come to the show, and at the time it was unheard of in 2000 to pull out a phone. And I'm like, mush mushy. And they're like, you got a phone? I'm like, yeah, hold on a second. Yeah, we're upstairs. Yeah, come upstairs. So then they're like, you got a phone here? I'm like, yeah. They're like, what you doing there? I'm like, I'm teaching. You teaching? What? They only knew working with the artists at that time. But like I said, now we're working for ourselves. And we have been doing it for a long time. And now it's the way. So I don't look for any credit for it. I'm just telling you what we did. I didn't know anyone else that was doing what we were doing. And may Skeeter Rabbit, great Skeeter Rabbit, may he rest in peace. I think he said it best. He said 60% of the time, they'll call you. 40% of the time, you gotta create for yourself. And that 40% of the time, I never forgot what he said, is what kept me going. And this is what you have today, So now you'll hear people say, yeah, I'm going here, I'm going there, I'm going here, I'm going there. Huh? But someone had to create and pave the track. And a shout out to Skeet, Pete, especially Skeet. And my first time to Korea was because of Skeet. He connected me with a gentleman named Suhan. And Suhan brought me out, and then I was connected.
I think this goes back to being creative in dance. I think it's connected to being creative in life in general, and innovation goes not just to the movements, but also in terms of business model.
Right.
Or, how you want to lead this career. The path is for you yourself to define.
Yeah.
I think that's great. I think kind of to close this up, is there anything that you wish you would do differently, or a letter to your younger self, or would you have any advice to give to her?
Nah, I wouldn't change anything, because it's been a beautiful ride. So I wouldn't change anything. I wish we would have knew more when we went to England. Honestly, I wish we would have known more. But I can travel anywhere in the world, and I don't know. And I have to speak to this as a young black man traveling. A lot of times when I'm traveling, and I must speak to this, when I sit next to someone on a plane, they want to know everything about me, but they want to tell me zero about them. So it's kind of I always feel like I don't belong there. I'm sitting down in the seat, put myself together. I'm about to put my headphones on. I hear something. I take it off. So, where you headed? I'm headed to France. Oh, okay. Huh? What brings you out there? I'm going to visit some friends. Huh? Now he wants to talk to me. I'm like, why is he? So I'm like, I feel a little leery. Like, why am I telling you? What am I doing? Why do I have to? So then I say, what are you doing? So this thing is a very, very serious thing. And then of course, because I'm tall, I'm 2 meters. Immediately, the first thing people say, are you a basketball player? I'm like, I don't know too many basketball players that are 47, 45, 56. Really? Me? 56? Maybe I would be a coach or owner. But this is the thing that happens a lot when you travel. This is how I'm perceived. The last thing. So after a while, I just started telling people, hey, I dance. Oh my God, you dance, really? Yeah, and now we have internet, so I'm like, yeah, that's me right there.
Followed.
Oh my God, you're so fast. Your feet are so fast. Wow, it's amazing. What do you do?
That's insane.
Yeah.
And one last question, like, if you weren't a dancer, what else would you do? Basketball player.
Now, my first love was American football. So I played all the way up to like my freshman year in college. I played wide receiver, and then they try to move me to tight end, and then tell me, oh, we're gonna get you, beef you up. But I mean, if they're telling you they're gonna bulk you up at that time, that meant that you're gonna probably be on some form of steroid. So, yeah, thank you. But I thought I wanted to go to school for marketing. That's what I wanted to be my major. But then my coach convinced me that I should take phys ed because it's easier. So as opposed to having marketing classes, I went from that to having volleyball, field hockey, tennis, you know what I'm saying? Like for my time that when I was in school. So now, like I would say astronomy. I'm really heavily into like the universe. So maybe that would be something I would really want to get into. No, I mean I DJ aside from this, and I MC aside from that. But if I wasn't doing anything in that realm, the star. You could ask my wife. I'm like always watching documentaries about Saturn, Jupiter, the sun. Like so I'm always like, that's my thing.
That's so cool. Yeah, it's about an hour and a half, and I think I'll open the floor to like all of you guys if you have any questions.
Well, first of all, thanks for doing this. I've only ever danced in New York. I think a lot of us have only ever really trained in New York. But you've taught like around the world. You talked about how if you think that there's anything that people from other countries about how they learn, how they practice, that you think you can take away from New York.
I think people in a lot of different places, like if I think of Asia, for example, I'll just, because I spent 30 years in Japan back and forth. So I found that people on average, it's like maybe 12 hours a day is dance. Dance. For their waking moments, people are in dance. And then in the nighttime, they're finding more times to dance, even if the studio is closed. Let's go to that building over there. I'm like, what's over there? They're like, don't worry. You can see your shadow, or you can see your silhouette in the mirror, and it's almost like a mirror. So we practice here. What? Yeah, and it also saves money. So that was one thing, the dedication. So seeing the dedication there, and then also what I see when I went to China, I saw some of the same things, as well as Korea, Taiwan as well. In Europe, a lot of people would lock in the studio. So if I own the studio, we're in here tonight, we're having a session, it's inside, and now we're gonna just practice. So that dedication to practice and to want to get better, I think that is something special, and that is something that kind of like it rubbed off on us. Another thing, people film themselves a lot. So back then we didn't have phones. People had actual cameras. So we started filming ourselves dancing, and then you kind of like got an opportunity to sit and look at yourself. And it would affect the way you dance, because before that, it's all up here. Now, you're really critical of yourself because you get to see it. And then there's certain things that you kind of want to augment and like kind of play around with. So it had its pros and cons. And so that's what I can say about what I learned in my travels.
I have a question. Do you want to go first?
Oh, no.
Thank you. So first of all, thank you so much for sitting here, spending time, sharing your knowledge, and tell your story. I think my main question is it's more relevant to a generic question, like speaking of individuality, because when you speak about the old days, when you first started dancing, everything, there was no class, there's just social dance clubs, and you learn and inspire by each other, and that's where, so basically everyone's style developed in a really natural way. So all of you guys have really strong individuality, and that's what inspires the world most. But for the new generations, I feel like even though there's so many resources at this point, but we just got so overwhelmed, and we don't know how to find individuality, but just to be forced to learn from whatever is available there.
Right.
So what's your thought on that, and what's your...
To talk about how to find individuality, it's difficult. The best way I can do it is build from a step, right? And if I, for example, do what we call swirl, this step. So if I take a step like this, the swirl, and then I pass it to you, you would do. Right. This is the way you find individuality. You take what I just did. This is just anything, right? I'm just saying this is anything. Doesn't matter what it is. But what you would do is try to find a way to change it to where it fits you. Right. This is where individuality comes from. It could be anything. It could be me moving my arm like this. But you're going to find a way to move your arm that's going to be you. And this is I use foundation as a role, and variation, that's part of the role to lead you to individuality. Seeing how many different ways you can do something. That is freestyling, and then that's also finding your way to your own individuality. So that's what I do when I'm in, like, when I have time in the Mop Top Universal to help people find themselves. I'll challenge them. We'll sit in a Cypher and we'll just do one movement. Doesn't matter the movement. I use the swirl as an example, but it could be anything. I could went split, dive, this, that, pass it to you. Now you have to take that and create your variation of what you just saw. Then I'll switch it and say, you set the pace. It's whatever you do, we have to change from you. And then you set the pace, you set the pace. Because you have to remember, when we were all together in the club, that's what was happening. Everybody was just doing it naturally without thinking. Everybody was dancing at the same time. So if you saw something that inspired you, you tried it. But you made it fit your feet. You made it a shoe that you could walk in. And for me, again, one question, one answer. This is just one way to kind of tap in and find your individuality. Start really with something basic as a step. How many different ways can I do this step? How many different ways can I do this movement? How many different positions? Because you have different ways, but ways are like, and then levels, and then you can do shapes. You can do a lot of different things. But this is just a way to start, you know. But again, it has to be with your favorite music. It ain't gonna happen with just any old, like this song that's playing right now. Does that inspire you to create? No disrespect to the maker of the song. This is what I'm saying. It has to be something that's moving your soul. If it's something that's moving your soul, then you're guaranteed to tap in and find yourself. And don't judge yourself. You have to remember, leave the judge in another room. And in this room, there's no judgment. Whatever is happening here happens here. And I guarantee you something is going to come out of it.
I guess this also connect to the topic that you mentioned earlier, tapping your inner child, find out what makes you happy and what you really want to be.
Yeah. But don't worry, if we were all children and if you didn't want to jump off of there, that was just, maybe that wasn't a good idea. Maybe somebody might twist their ankle. Maybe that's not a good idea. But if, like, we used to do crazy stuff, like, let's throw eggs. Like, yeah. And then we thought that was a good idea. Bad idea.
I teach fitness dance for over 40 and 50 and 60. And I love house dance, and street dance, hip hop.
To mix the two? Well, I mean, for me, dance is cardio is working on your cardio anyway, especially if you're doing it right.
Yes.
So, house is definitely cardio.
Yes.
Hip hop, definitely. B-boying, definitely. All the dance styles. So, I mean, if you find a way that you can marry the two together,
Is it okay?
yeah. As long as you know what you're doing, as long as you know what you're sharing and what you're combining together. So I would suggest that you try to learn as much as you possibly can about street dance. Study that.
I love
And get as much knowledge as you possibly can with that. And then try to find a way to connect it with what you're doing.
Yeah.
You understand? Because it's important, because if you were doing fitness, you couldn't just go with a little bit of knowledge of fitness and then say, I'm gonna go teach. You would need to have a lot of knowledge in order to go and to share. Yeah. But I understand what you're trying to do. Actually, there was a friend of mine from Australia that kind of wanted to do that with house. Kind of like a Zumba type vibe with house. And I was like, and this was maybe like 10 years ago. And I was like, wow, sounds like a great idea. But then I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the people that are in my class when they finish. They're drenched. I'm like, if this is not a workout, then I don't know what is. Even if we keep it on a super basic level where we're not even doing anything complex, like literally, like almost everything is like a two-step and it's super basic, you know, they're still getting a workout. And so, yeah, I would just say try to get as much information, as much knowledge as you possibly can, and then you take the next step. So you don't have to put pressure on yourself. But it's good that the elders, people that are, I don't consider myself an elder, but people that are older, that they want to be involved in it. No, because I feel like I have too much energy. Like in my mind, I think I'm 25 in my mind. I'm like, to be honest with you, the music comes on, I'm like, like I still have that energy, like, and I guess when that goes away, then I'll just sit and just watch everybody dance. Hey, how you doing? Hey, you dance today? Nah.
Anyone else?
I do have a question.
Okay.
Do you have, can you talk about how you take care of your body?
Okay. Or how I try?
Sure. professional athletes, you know, like those guys, they have all the technology and money to spend on it.
Right.
But a lot of us are just normal people who like to dance.
Right, right. I hear you. Well, the best thing that I did is I stopped drinking. I stopped drinking in 2010. So it's like 16 years. And I'm a vegan, so I don't eat any form of flesh. I'm really, really, really conscious of what I put inside my body. I look at the body like a Ferrari. You know, this is my analogy, like you wouldn't put cheap gas in a Ferrari. It's not gonna run right. You gotta put that really good gas in a good car. And if you look at your body like a car, like it could be a plane, whatever your thing is. My thing is a Ferrari. No, but seriously, like you have to take care of yourself in that way. My wife gets on me about me getting rest. That's another thing that you need to do. You need to try to sleep at least get 8 hours in if you can. Drink a lot of water, because that also helps. Body's made up, 60-70% of plasma, so you need to keep that for your joints, you know. And I don't know if people are into taking vitamins. I take mine, you know. Does anyone here juice? I juice. You know, that's really, really good for you. And I also bike too. I'm a cyclist, so. Well, helmet is over there. It's over there.
Oh, helmet. Wow.
Yeah. And this is my old helmet too. This is like, it's been through the wars. But I've been cycling for about 30 years. Also, like I told you, I worked that job for $5 an hour, so couldn't even take the train to work, bro. I had to bike. Through here, it's crazy that I'm sitting in here because I would have to ride through here to get to the 59th Street Bridge to go to my job. So those are some of the things that I do to help me stay in shape. Yeah.
But to add on that, has there ever been time when you get injured, and how did you deal with injuries?
Actually, I injured myself last year. So, trying to show a movement with no hands. So mad at myself, because when you hurt yourself, you get mad at yourself.
Yeah.
You're like, what the hell was I thinking? I wasn't thinking. Yeah, I dropped down in what they call a coin drop, or what we call a corkscrew, and I dropped down with no hands. And then I was like, now you come up, and everybody's looking at me. And I'm like, and as soon as I went to come up with no hands, I could feel a surge of heat in my inner knee towards my meniscus, like, but if it was an opera singer, it was like, oh, I was like, and I worked my way up, and I was like, do it like that. And I'm there rubbing my knee, and how it goes around a circle, and then it comes back to me, and I'm like, nah, you go. And I'm like still rubbing my leg, and then I call my wife, and I'm like, babe, I think I really hurt myself. And she's like, what? And I'm like, I think I really hurt myself. And then the next day, I was like, nah, maybe I'll be okay. And I tried to do that movement, and then the same thing happened. So I'm still dealing with it. I just know how to work around it, because that's also the other side. If you go and you get surgery, then you're out. And if you're out, then your lights might not be on. You can't maintain your rent, and you're not gonna be able to eat. So, like athletes, some of us play with injuries. Some of us dance with injuries. Some have injuries that are more serious than others. So yeah, I'm dealing with it now, but
So work
I'm
around
okay.
it as
It's like you know what you can do, and you definitely know what you can't do. So I just stay away from what I can't do.
Anything else, anyone? Yeah. Oh.
Sorry, last question. What do you believe to be the rite of passage to let others teach us?
I think that someone should study at least 10 years. They say 10 years, I forget exactly how many hours, because there's some people that like to quote the exact amount of hours that you need. But I think that if you really have time, like 10 years in something, maybe in the first 5, you probably have a grasp of it and you feel that you know everything. But in the next 5, there's going to be a transformation that's going to happen within that style, that it's important to take that time out to continue to always be a student and never be a master. Because we're speaking, I'm here speaking, but I'm a student. I'm always learning. I don't know everything. I don't claim to know everything. And so that's the best thing that I can tell you. 10 years to immerse yourself into something, you'll come out of that with a lot to give. One thing you'll realize, and I think it's very important, that you'll see the correlation and connection to the thing that you wanted to share, because that's important. Because a lot of times people will learn, study with us, and then they'll come back because they need to re-up. They need to know more information because there are correlation connections that with what they're doing that they didn't realize. And at the same time, we're still learning. So we're learning this same information too. So now it's like, yeah, well, no, that's also connected to West African dance. And this movement is connected to tap. And that one is connected to salsa. And this movement comes from ballet. This is a such and such. It's called this, but now it's this. I'm like, oh, really? Yeah. But if you don't know those things, then teaching to me, you have a big responsibility. I think it's easier now because, and this has happened to a lot of people, they win a contest. They're asked to come out and teach. They're thrusted into that position. Some people are good, they're able to learn on the fly. But then there's some people that they're thrusted into that position and they're not ready. And then they're not trying to gather the information because their ego won't allow them to. I know it, I got it. So yeah. 10 years. I don't want to see you teaching anyway. No, stop. I'm joking. I'm messing with you.
Okay. Anything else? Or I think we're at time as well. So thank you all for being here today. And thank you, Caleaf. And we'll see you in the next episode.
Thanks for watching. For the full interview, check out Dance Chat on your favorite platform.